2021 Charter Review Commission, your first meeting. I want to thank you all for being willing to serve on a very important function here of Brevard County's government. A number of you have served before on the Charter Review Commission. I just want to go over a couple quick things, and then we'll talk a little bit of routine, and then you guys can get into your meeting. Just as a reminder, this is a commission that meets every 6 years. To look through the whether you want to present to the county commissions your recommendations for amendments to the charter. You have 1 year to present the recommendations to the commission. So basically, the clock starts today. So you have until August 12th of next year to present to the commission. You can also decide that no amendments are appropriate to send up for recommendations to the county commission. It's made up of 15 members. There's 3 members from each district office. I lost track of my count. We have 9 here. We have 9 folks here, and then we have Kendall Moore. He is on Zoom. You can see him on that screen, not on that screen, but you can see he's staying quiet there. So we have Kendall there. So we have a quorum that when we get down to elect the chair and the business, we have enough folks. I hate to do it. Can we have you? Because, yeah, bingo, Marie. Yeah, I get you saying. She's got it exactly right. We left the center chair there open for when you guys elect the chair. A couple routine items for you all to know. Right now, all the microphones here at the table, they're hot. If you see you have the bright green light on, if you want to turn them off, you just hit the push. but we just make sure that you hit push before you speak again. We're broadcasting this through our Space Coast TV and the YouTube channel. The most important part of the YouTube channel that we use is, believe it or not, we're taking it for closed captioning. That actually makes it easiest for us to provide you all with the verbatim minutes. So that's the main reason. Go there. You let us know if you want to continue on this Space Coast TV. The agendas and all the meeting details can be found on our county homepage. When you go to our county homepage, you click on board meetings. There'll be the listing of all our public commissions and advisory boards. You'll see charter review on there. You can click on, as we get further along, you'll see agendas on there. You'll see minutes, and you'll see the different agenda packages. Let's see, the charter itself is also on the county webpage. And further along on the webpage, you can also see the 2015, 2016 Charter Review Commission's actions and agendas they've had there. We will be providing to you all secretarial and legal staff of your own. Our secretarial staff, I'm going to poor Melissa, she's the first one that gets highlighted. We have Melissa Brandt right there. We're bringing her on board. She is nice enough to come in the meeting to watch and observe. And then you see in your agenda package, we'll have Stephen Darling here talk to you all about the legal services that bring everything together. And since I introduced Melissa, I'm just going to kind of go around this way with we have our staff members here. Actually, I'm going to go this way. Over here, we have Frank Abadi. He's our county manager. You don't have to clap. Yeah, there you go. We have Commissioner Brian Lober, and we just made you staff. There you go. Stephen Darling, he's our Central Services Director, and like I said, he'll be introducing the subject about the legal RFQ. We have Abby Jornby, who right now is the Deputy County Attorney and will soon be the County Attorney. So she's hiding over there. Melissa Brandt, she'll be your secretarial staff and providing staff throughout the process. And then we have Teresa Rivera. She's one of our administrative assistants in the county manager's office, so she's helping out with this meeting. And I bet you I haven't given my name. And I'm Jim Liesenfeld. I'm the assistant county manager. So Melissa and myself will be your staff contacts back and forth. And I'm going off what we did the last set of minutes, the last meetings, is we asked everyone from the commission to introduce themselves. I'm sure most of you know each other, but just in case, it also helps get your voice on the tape, gets us to recognize voices a little bit better, and it helps with the closed captioning. So I'm going to start with the one person I know.
Tom Jenkins.
Steve Schmidt. Marcia Newell.
Jordan Chandler.
Matt Nye.
Dave Newman.
Mike Herodopoulos.
Cole Oliver.
Marie Rogerson.
Bob White.
Blaze Tredis.
Okay. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to have Abby. She's going to come up and provide a overview and a review of the Sunshine Law, as this is a Sunshine Commission.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abby Jornby. I'm Deputy County Attorney. So I'd like to take this time just to do a brief overview for Sunshine Law and public records. It'll be very quick. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can always reach out and ask any questions you have. Just so everyone is aware, what is the Sunshine Law? So Florida has in our Constitution, Government in the Sunshine Law, or the Open Meetings Law, and it provides the public access to our meetings. So any member of the public could come to this meeting and attend and participate. So it essentially is the sunshine. Everything has to be in the sunshine, as you'll hear. What does that meeting requirement actually look like? So it seems pretty simple. The requirements are that we have to keep the meetings of the public boards or this commission specifically open to the public. They have to be allowed in. We have to give reasonable notice of all meetings. And we also have to take minutes of the meetings. So you'll see that we have Teresa and Melissa in the back. They're going to obviously have our minutes prepared every time we have a meeting. So it seems pretty simple. But how it applies to you as a member of this commission is that these requirements apply even if you're not in this boardroom. So the law applies to any gathering, whether formal or casual, of two or more members of the same board. So any two members of this particular commission, anytime when they come together to discuss a matter which may be foreseeable action will be taken by that board. It doesn't matter the location. So for some reason, if two members of a commission get together and start talking about something that's coming up on an upcoming agenda, that technically is a sunshine meeting and actually has to be publicly noticed. Members members of the public have to attend and minutes have to be taken. I've made a note here that it doesn't matter the location. You could be on a golf course, you could be at Publix. So you want to avoid that happening at all, because that would be a violation of the Sunshine Law if you heard someone say that. Essentially, you have to be at a publicly noticed meeting to discuss business amongst yourselves, whether it's 2 or more persons of this commission. So keep that in mind as you go about your day-to-day activities. So boiling that down, it could be also not just actually meeting and talking about an item. It could be written correspondence, emails, text messages, or any other electronic means, phone conversations, Facebook, social media interactions. Any of that occurs between 2 members of the same body, like this commission, about business that could come before you for a vote, would be a violation of the Sunshine if it did not occur in a publicly noticed meeting such as this. So it does not matter the actual location, nor does it matter the transmission. It could be by email, it could be having a private lunch. Any of those would be a violation of the Sunshine or open meeting requirements. So keep that in mind. Always be cognizant of that when you are going about your business. And also, obviously, we talked about the reasonable notice requirement. It's for all public meetings. So every time we have a meeting of this board, there's going to be notice given so the members of the public can come and participate at that meeting. What is required is basically time and place of the meeting, and if there's available, the agenda. As you can see, we have an agenda today, so that is provided so the public can know what we're discussing. Minutes of this meeting will be kept, as I mentioned before. Verbatim is typically not something that is required. However, we will be doing verbatim minutes for this. It does help because this board doesn't meet as often as like our commission, our regular board of commissions. So it's nice to have those verbatim minutes so many years down the road so people can see what the prior board did. They are promptly recorded. They're supposed to be open to inspection by the public. But there's actually no specific time frame as to when those minutes have to be prepared and adopted, but we try to do them pretty much the next meeting. So with those parameters in mind, as members of this commission, what does that mean? Does that mean 2 members from this commission cannot socialize? No, it's not what I'm saying. It doesn't mean you can't go to a Starbucks together and get coffee. It's really avoiding the appearance of impropriety and making sure you do not discuss this board's business outside of a public meeting. So it doesn't mean you can't go to dinner. It doesn't mean you can't go play golf. It doesn't mean you can't go to Starbucks and get a coffee. It's just keeping in mind that if it's something that will foreseeably become before this board for a vote or a decision, that's something you cannot discuss amongst yourselves. So it's really, like I said, avoiding that appearance of impropriety. You can meet with staff. So Jim introduced himself. We have Teresa, Melissa, myself. You can talk to staff if you need to. That is not a violation of the Sunshine. It's essentially if it's just the members of this board. So you can communicate. You cannot, however, use Jim to communicate from one board member to the other how that person may vote on an item that comes before the board. So be careful. We do have to always be cautious of that. Sometimes it's, staff even has to remember that they cannot be a conduit to express, how one member might feel about an item that will come before the other member, before the board for a vote. So keep that in mind. But you can communicate with staff, ask questions, whatever you have. Absolutely, that is allowed. Commission members or members of this body may also attend other public meetings of other public bodies. So it doesn't prevent you from actually going to the Board of County Commissioners, or if you wanted to go to the Planning Board, you can go there and you can actually express your opinions. However, you want to be very cautious that if for some reason you went to the Board of County Commissioners and there was some item where you dissented with the other member, you don't want to start to get up, do public comment, and then another member from this board gets up and starts, debating. You don't want to have a debate through public comment. So just be cognizant of that. So you can attend other board meetings. You just don't want to actually start having a debate with another member in that other board meeting. And that's something usually, obviously, the attorneys are usually aware, so if we see other board members there, we'll caution you, just be careful. You can give your opinion, but don't start debating the other board member, because actually that could be considered another Sunshine meeting that we would have to notice for this board. And then just highlighting public records, probably very familiar with this, but we have under Florida Statute 119 a very broad public records definition. So all papers, letters, maps, books, tapes, photos, films, recordings made or received in connection with a transaction of official business is a public record. So that includes correspondence and email received or made by the board or a commission member in connection with the business of the board or commission. There is no unfinished business exception, and drafts are public records. So just keep that in mind, that if you have an email that you're sending out, let's say you're sending to staff, be cognizant of the fact that, someone from the Florida Today or just a member of the public can request that document and actually get that document, unless there is some type of exempt information in it. And there are exemptions, but typically, they are public records. Public has a right to access this records. Florida statute does exempt certain ones from disclosure. That's something that we review by a case-by-case basis to ensure compliance with state statutes. And if for some reason you do receive a request for a record, it could be just a member of the public, recognizes you from this commission, says, I want X, Y, Z, I want the minutes from the last meeting. Let staff know so we can actually make sure we get the correct record to that individual. And that's always the best process, to just let us know so we can take care of that and you don't have to have any concerns regarding that particular request. So essentially, that was a very brief overview of our Sunshine Law and the public records. Just keep in mind that now that you are a member of this board, these requirements are placed on you. It is, expected that you follow the Sunshine. Make sure you do not discuss board business amongst yourselves outside of a publicly noticed meeting, and be aware of the fact that all documents that are made in connection with business of this board will be considered a public record unless there was some type of exemption. So unless there are any questions, that was pretty much it. Okay, all right, thank you.
And I got to apologize, I forgot to have Kendall Moore introduce himself. And Kendall, there he goes, he took his mic off.
Good afternoon, everyone. And again, Lisa Feld, thank you and the IT staff for making this available to me today. Happened to be out of town taking my son to college, but thank you again.
Excellent. Thank you, Kendall. At your seats, we have a copy of the charter. We also have a copy of all the members with phone number and email contacts. We made a few corrections. If we have anything incorrect or we need to update, just let myself or Teresa know, and we'll get that updated for everybody. There's also, we have a list of meeting dates. You guys get to decide on what the meeting dates is, but we already reserved the room and time. It's just as a suggestions, but you guys can do what you like. And then we have the documents for the request for qualifications for the legal services. So your first step as a committee is to elect a chair and a vice chair. The normal way to do that is we look for a nomination for a chair and then a second, and if there's another nomination for a chair, then we will all, well, not we, you will all vote on the chair.
Point of information before we move to that is, I know this is the first and we haven't even elected chair and all that, but is Zoom going to be a viable prospect for later meetings, or is this kind of a one-off?
This was right now it's just a one-off. If you all like the Zoom available, let us know, and then we can make that available for the future meetings. You still have to have an in-person quorum.
Yes, so we will need to have an in-person quorum. So obviously, the Zoom is an option, but we would like to keep that limited. We will need to have bodies in the chair, so to speak.
But it is an option. That's the key thing.
Yeah. And as you all decide when to have the meeting, how to have the meetings, if you want Zoom available, just let us know, and we'll work it out for you. So.
Well, I would like to move to nominate Mike Karadopoulos for chair.
Second?
It would be helpful,
Yeah.
everybody to turn their mics on.
Yeah. So it was Ms. Rogerson made the nomination for Mr. Herodopoulos, and it was seconded by Mr. Newman. And any other
I'll nominate Matt Nye.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All right, so a nomination for Mr. Nye made by Mr. White and Treatise. Tretis, thank you, sorry. I knew I was, at practice, I'm sorry, I knew I was going to miss that. Second up by Mr. Tretis. That's what happens when you rehearse too much. Are there any other nominations for chair? Okay, and so this is one, now I'm relying on the attorney.
Yes, so if you have one motion on the floor, so I would take a vote on that motion, see how that
Okay,
goes forward at that point.
so then all in favor of Mike
That would be the motion for Mike
Herodopoulos.
Herodopoulos.
I practiced that too.
I'm still working on it.
So if we can have, the best way would be hands up for voting for Mike Herodopoulos as chair. I'll read off the names so that way it gets on to the minutes properly. So all in favor of Mike Herodopoulos, please raise your hand. I'm going to work this way around. So we have Jenkins, followed by Schmidt, followed by Newell, followed by Chandler, then Newman, then Herodopoulos, Oliver, Rogerson, and Tredis. All in,
And Kendall Moore.
oh, thank you. I was, okay, and Kendall Moore. He's even got his hand up. Thank you, Kendall. Appreciate that, Kendall. All right, and then all for Matt Nye. And we have Nye and we have White. So officially, right, making sure, so that'd be Mr. Mike Herodopoulos is the chair.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And we have the center seat for you if you would like to take the center
I'm
seat.
fine here.
Okay. As we go along, we actually have, so we can do speakers and all
Yeah,
that good
detail
stuff.
that, that's
Yeah, okay. All right, so now we need nominations for vice chair.
I'll nominate Kendall Moore. He served the last two charter review commissions as chair, I believe.
Okay. Do we have a second for Mr.?
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Nye seconded. All right, any other nominations for vice chair? Nope. So still need to vote on it, correct?
Well, if you want to vote yes. go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay. So all in favor of, assuming he's okay with it, all in favor
Does
of
he accept the
Kendall?
nomination?
Yeah, this guy, I don't, is there anybody
accept the
against Kendall
nomination.
Moore? Yeah. Anyone against Kendall Moore for vice chair? So Kendall, I think it's unanimous. There he goes. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moore. So your chair is Mike Herodopoulos and the vice chair is Kendall Moore. So what we have for you as your first piece of business is we have Stephen Darling. He's our Central Services Director. One of the areas he oversees is purchasing, so he's going to talk to you about the RFQ for legal services. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. As Jim said, I'm Stephen Darling, Central Services Director, and last week when you got the agenda sent to you, there should have been a draft copy of the RFQ, request for qualifications for legal counsel to serve as the board's legal counsel during the Charter Review Committee meetings. If you haven't reviewed it, I would appreciate if you could review. Our intention is to advertise this for next week, and it will go out in the Florida Today and Demand Star and Vendor Link with all of our other solicitations. Once it does advertise, all appointees are prohibited from speaking with anybody, any potential respondents on the RFQ. If you were to get questioned about it, I would appreciate if you would direct them to the Purchasing Services Office, and we will address their questions. The RFQ responses, if we do advertise next week, will be due on September 10th to my office, at which time we would then prepare all of the submissions for the Charter Review Board to review, as you guys will act as the selection committee for the legal counsel. So upon receipt of the proposals, all responses will be sent to all appointees no later than September 16th via email. I can also bring you a hard copy if need be. The appointees cannot discuss the responses with other members of the board as per sunshine unless it's in a publicly noticed meeting. And then ideally, if you keep the proposed meeting schedule, we would come to the September 23rd, I believe it is, meeting prepared to discuss and rank any and all of the responses that we've received based on the evaluation criteria that is outlined in the RFQ. At that point in time, the committee will rate them, rack and stack them, and the committee will be asked for a motion to either enter into negotiations with the highest ranked respondent, shortlist a number of respondents and invite them back for presentations, or make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to reject all responses. Once a respondent is selected, at that point in time, an hourly rate will be negotiated with them, and a final recommendation of the firm to provide the legal services and their hourly rate as proposed and negotiated, along with the draft contract, will be presented to the Board of County Commissioners for final approval. Keeping the timeline as discussed above, it is anticipated that we would take that final recommendation to the board during the October 12th meeting, at which time the legal counsel would then begin attending the meetings and providing the services as required. That's it. As far as the deadlines and stuff in there, I'm open to any questions you guys have about the process or anything included in the RFQ. We modeled it after previous Charter Commission RFQs. Okay. So I will need a motion to approve the draft RFQ as written if there are no issues with it.
Move.
I'll second.
I believe Sue moved it, right?
Are we on board? Approved. I'm sorry. There's a question. I was just reading over the dates. I apologize.
No, we had a motion and a second. We just need a vote.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye. It's approved.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think the first agenda item we're going to have, obviously, is on our scheduling. And before you, there are two scheduled dates. And are there many major conflicts? The next one planned is on the 23rd of September. And the next is on October 14th. Why don't we all kind of look at our calendars before we proceed and see if those dates might work? I know I might have a conflict on the first one already, but if that date works, I will, of course, adjust my schedule accordingly. But look at your calendars and see how those dates look. And when you all kind of pick your heads up, I'll look for that as a motion that you guys are ready to talk about it.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Does Kendall have a copy of this?
Actually, Kendall does not have a copy of the.
Kendall, if you can hear me, this is Mike. We have September 23rd, a Thursday at 3 p.m., and then an October 14th at 3 p.m. as tentative dates for our next two meetings. Just wanted you to look at your calendar to see if those dates might or might not work, and if they don't, please let us know, and we'll kind of have a running discussion, because this seems to be our controversial item of the day, I think, in general. So hope we can handle this one.
And Matt, last time
Mr.
around,
Chairman,
you
both
did
of
a
those are
poll
fine for me.
to try to figure out the future dates that work better than other ones.
I'm drawing a blank on the.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I know
I
that.
can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I think it's not Julie, that's a new thing, but there's a calendaring tool where we can send it to everybody.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
There's doodle.com or something like that. Yes, we could, if you all like that, we can do that too.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to kind of, is there a reason why Thursdays were picked in the past?
I'm not sure what they did in the past. We went through, at the same time, we're going through redistricting, and so we scheduled the two of them together, trying to avoid city council meetings, different county commission meetings, that sort of thing. So that's how we kind of landed on Thursday for this.
Okay.
I mean, there was no preferred option. It was just how it went.
Sure. Just in general, anyone have, Matt?
Yeah, I've got a conflict on Thursday, October 14th, can't be changed or moved, and I
Okay.
can't do it via Zoom, so.
Can I just ask this, would you be available by Zoom that day?
It'd have to be the first half, before noon.
Okay.
Yep.
Other questions on each, and let's go over to September 23rd at first. Anyone have a conflict, a major conflict that they cannot kind of avoid on that date? And Kendall's not raising his hand, so that's a good thing. I think, why don't we go ahead with the 23rd of September, right here at 3 p.m.? I think that'll work out great.
Okay.
And then our next one is Thursday, the 14th. I know Mr. Nye already has a concern on that date. Anyone else have a concern on the 14th of October?
Not if it's in the afternoon.
And what was the date again for the selection for the legal counsel?
They're returned on September 10th is when you receive them, but.
Yeah, we were going to bring them back on the 23rd. We'll get them out, all the responses out to the members as soon as we get them in and we do the reference checks.
Okay.
And then the plan was at the September 23rd meeting for you guys to rate them and evaluate them, and then we would go from there.
Okay. And we would actually have the vote that day?
You will motion that day on the next step forward, which would either be to accept the highest ranked vendor and enter into negotiations, or if you guys wanted to shortlist and bring them back and interview them, say, during this meeting, or if we didn't get any good responses and you wanted to recommend to the board to reject all.
Okay.
That's what would come from that meeting.
So the goal would be that once the selection is made for the 14th of October meeting, we'd have our legal counsel kind of ready to go.
We would present that to the Board of County Commissioners. I believe October 12th would be the meeting that I would present that to them. And then if it's approved at that point in time, then they will be available to be at the October 14th meeting.
And finally, to ask again to the membership, are we anticipating approximately a meeting per month? Is this what you all be comfortable with, or are you going to want to play it by ear after what we hear come October 14th? And open it to the floor.
I think historically, we've met once a month.
Yeah, I think that would be logical.
Towards the end.
It gets faster.
Things gets more hectic and you have longer meetings and more often in the past, depending on how many items get brought forward.
Okay.
The first half of the term last time, it was once a month.
Okay, great.
When they say it takes a year, it really doesn't. If you have a little bit longer, and it depends on how many things people want to bring up at that point. I will say on the law firm that the last time, because I sat on the last one, that what they did was decide to shortlist it to 3, and then they had those 3 for interviews before the committee, so that it gave you an opportunity if you didn't know somebody or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah, I think, I know in my case, I'd love to hear from the 3 law firms before we made a decision such as that, so it wouldn't be a kind of a rush process. I know we'll all have a kind of our votes based on what they turn in, but it'd be great to have a presentation, especially considering probably the size of the contract. Never hurts to hear what we're going to be working with. Is that okay with everyone?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. All right, so why don't we go ahead and pencil in those 2 dates for the 23rd and the 14th. And as we all know, things do change. And if there's a situation where multiple members would miss the meeting, obviously we might have to adjust, but we'll have that flexibility. But it seems like the 23rd will be at least a date we can move forward on. And if we need to adjust after that, we'll always be able to do that.
And 3 p.m.'s good?
3 p.m. good for everyone?
So I can make it work, but I probably am the only one in this room who has child pickup at this time. So these 2 will work for me. I'll make them work. But going forward, if we met more often, it would become a problem for me.
And I guess that's a great question. Is an evening meeting better for people, or is a 3 p.m. meeting better for folks? Because I know most of us are working, so I don't mind working after as opposed to during working hours. So any suggestions on that?
I'm favorable to evening meetings.
Okay. Anyone opposed to evening meetings? Sue, anybody else having a concern about that? Well, why don't we lock in the 23rd for 3 p.m. for now, and then moving forward as we kind of adjust to our schedules. In school, I've got one more child at home, so we're adjusting at 3 o'clock as well. So we'll see what happens for the 14th, and we'll be flexible on that. I mean, this is obviously a volunteer board, and people have very busy schedules, and let's be reactive to that and use as much technology as possible as people do travel a bunch. All right, so we're set with the meeting schedule. Public comment. I see a few folks here. Oh, okay. You can turn in your card and everything. Fantastic. We have a fellow named Brian Lober here. He is a commissioner for District 2, and he is welcome. He would like to discuss item G, which is public comment. Commissioner Lober, welcome.
Mr. Chair, I believe Mr. Darling may have had something that, and I'm happy to cede a little bit of time to him to allow him to come up first. I don't know if it pertained to the legal contract, but I saw him kind of wiggling around there in his seat. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to hear from him first.
Yeah, and just in general, my style is very open, and so I don't want to hold people rigidly until maybe later in the process for the 3 minutes, but as we get started, get to know each other, let's be as flexible as possible with each other. So please.
Thank you, sir. Because I heard you guys mention about having presentations and wanting to see the respondents, I can build that into the RFQ so we can bring them all in on the 23rd, so we're not delayed another month to bring them back, if that's amenable to the board.
I'd suggest maybe taking the top 3 and bringing them in. I don't know how many are going to respond.
Well, I won't know the top 3 because you guys are the ones that have to rate
Well, I
them.
meant on the scoring.
Right, so
I
we
guess
could
we're
ask
gonna
them
do
to
the
all
scoring,
come
correct,
to the
right.
to the 23rd meeting and do presentations if that's amenable to you guys.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, how many responses to the RFQ do you anticipate?
Last time they got 6.
Okay. And so how much time would we envision allotting to each of those? Assume we got 6.
So typically, we do about 20-minute sessions. When we do this with other selection committees, we do a 20-minute, like 10-minute presentation followed by a Q&A.
Good question. Let me ask this. they have to turn it in by a certain date. We'll have a few days prior to the meeting. We'll be scoring prior or after the presentations.
You would score, the way it's set up now, you would score at that meeting on the 23rd.
Okay.
And then based on how it was scored, if you had a clear break, say, between number 3 and number 4, you would probably motion to bring the top 3 back for presentations. Because we public notice these meetings and they're scheduled a month in advance, we would then be on hold until the October meeting, at which time we would invite them to come in for presentations, and we would do it during that meeting.
Okay. And I'm all for, hopefully, to your question, Mel, hopefully it's only 6, if not, or
Right.
less.
Exactly.
No disrespect. I'd love to hear from lawyers sometimes.
It's a really
And we might want to actually put the clock on for that one, so it'd be a good idea. But yeah, let's see how many actually come in and apply, and I think maybe we give them 10 minutes tops. I don't think, their resumes are going to speak for themselves. I'm sure we all will know most of the names, and if they have a nice presentation, they shouldn't be more than 10 minutes to kind of make their case, no pun intended.
So we will anticipate for them to present during the September meeting then.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. All right, so I'll be brief, at least by way of being brief from attorney standards. So the short of it is I want to thank you all for your service. I think this is one of those committees where fiefdoms just really don't make sense. This is a countywide committee, as you're all well aware. I know everyone here, some folks better than others. I'm sure that you all will do as good a job as any other group of individuals were they to be in the same positions. I just want to make available an offer that I made available to the redistricting committee as well. Whether or not you're in my district, if I can do anything or my office can do anything to help you guys out, let me know. If you need access to something that is problematic for you to find on your own or for staff to find, let me know, and I'll do what I can to make whatever resources I'm able to bring to bear available to you. So beyond that, I said I'd be brief. Thank you all so much. Have a lovely day. Love and kisses.
Thank you very much. All right, and you stayed under 3 minutes. Thank you. All right. Before we close up, are there any other public comments?
I had an
Of course, Tom. Go ahead, please.
Prior commissions have had operating rules, and I was wondering if we could get the operating rules from the last Charter Review Commission provided so we could adopt some operating rules.
That's a terrific idea. Let's go ahead and do that. Without objection, if the staff would provide that for us for next time, that'd be great. Any other comments for the good of the order?
Actually, could they send those out before the next meeting, just so we?
Yeah,
can
even
review?
better. And we're all electronically connected, so that would be great. Yeah, let's do that and send that out electronic. Good suggestion, Matt. Any other good suggestions, especially whether, Cole, I know you served on before, any other kind of housekeeping matters that you want to put out there so we don't have to worry about it later?
No, the Robert's Rules of Orders, and I know Matt's the keeper of all knowledge as to it comes to those, it seems like.
I don't know. Memory's not so great these days. So I don't know if I want to take
You'll be the honorary parliamentarian then. Very good. All
At
right.
least, yeah, we don't, at least this time now, they're actually live streaming the meeting, because I remember the first one, I actually had to set up my own live stream, and that caused quite the fuss, so, yeah.
Other comments for the good of the order? All right, without objection, we'll notice that on Thursday, the 23rd of September, we'll meet again here at 3 p.m. I appreciate everyone coming in, and have a great afternoon, and we are adjourned.
All right.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.